And speaking of corruption, thegrayzone.com has a story. Zelensky frees convicted child rapists, torturers to reinforce depleted military. This is by Esha Krishnaswamy. Nasawami, I hope I'm saying that right. Once condemned by Ukrainian officials and imprisoned for sadistic torture and the rape of minors, leaders of the notorious Tornado Battalion are free under Volodymyr Zelensky's orders. After banning virtually his entire political opposition, publishing a blacklist of foreign journalists and academics accused of advancing, quote, Russian propaganda, and ramming through a law exempting 70% of Ukrainians from workplace protections, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has freed from prison fascist militants convicted of some of the most heinous crimes the country has seen since World War II. This is the shining beacon of democracy that Nancy Pelosi applauds, right? So I want to have a message to folks in Taiwan. Don't think that Nancy Pelosi is interested in you actually having true liberal government with accountability and true protections for the individual there. She has no problem promoting this kind of corruption and ugliness in another country where she says this is a shining beacon of democracy. According to a July 11th report in Ukrainian media, Ruslan Onyshenko, commander of the now disbanded Tornado Battalion, was freed as part of President Zelensky's scheme to release prisoners with combat experience. Along with an unwavering commitment to fascism, Onyshenko is known as a psychopathic sadist who was involved in sexually assaulting children, brutally torturing prisoners, and murder. Sounds like he'll be getting the Medal of Honor from Biden if this all works out. Onyshenko's release follows a February 27th order by Zelensky to free other convicted former Tornado members like Daniil Mujahed Liashuk, a fanatic from Belarus who has openly emulated ISIS and boasted of torturing captives for sheer enjoyment. This is the kind of democratic values we fight for. This is what the whole world, India, China, it's what they look at, because you may not be seeing this on your story, on your garbage newspaper, New York Times, trash, Washington Post, Compost, you may not be seeing that, but the whole world is seeing this, right? So it's important to know what your government's actually funding and supporting and allying with, so you have an idea of how the rest of the world sees our government's behavior, right? It's kind of good to see what the truth in the advertisement really is. According to Zelensky's decree, prisoners with combat experience would be allowed to compensate for their guilt by fighting in the hottest spots. What are those people going to do to Ukrainian civilians in the eastern side that identify ethnically with Russians and don't agree with the government in the western part of Ukraine? It's sad, right? I mean, this is the ugly reality of what we're supporting over there, and that's what we're bankrupting our economy over. This is something we should not be picking sides. There's corrupt oligarchs on the Russian side, and there are corrupt oligarchs on the Western Ukrainian government side, and the victims through it all are the Ukrainian citizens who want the war to stop, but because of Washington's hubris and arrogance and corruption, they are unnaturally prolonging this bloody conflict, and all the people, innocent kids, innocent families, innocent civilians, have to suffer all the more because of our dereliction of duty from our government.